you know, that feeling, right? That moment. You're thinking about getting some people together, maybe friends, maybe a new business contact, or even just catching up with a colleague. And you want to invite them. Or maybe it's the other way around. Your phone pings, there's an invite, and you pause for a second. There's that little voice inside thinking, okay, how do I say yes and sound genuinely keen? Or how do I say no politely, you know, without making it weird? It's really more than just the words, isn't it? It feels like it's about showing respect, making a connection, making the other person feel, well, valued.
Oh, absolutely. That little hesitation is so common, so relatable. Invitations and responses, they really are the building blocks of our social interactions. And doing this in English, especially if it's not your first language, well, the nuances can be tricky. Politeness, directness, they might work differently than what you're used to. Those subtle social cues can feel a bit like walking through a minefield sometimes, can't they? You obviously want your message understood, but you also want to hit the right note, warmth, formality, appreciation. It's about making sure your communication lands exactly right.
Exactly. And navigating that subtle dance, those social cues, that's precisely what we're going to unpack today on the deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission really is to give you a shortcut to mastering this whole art. Inviting, accepting, declining politely in English.
Mm-hmm.
We want to help turn those potential awkward moments, those stumbling blocks, into real opportunities to connect with people. Because like you said, it's not just about learning phrases by heart. It's about understanding the social machinery underneath, building better relationships, feeling more confident day to day.
Mm-hmm. And we've really dug into this. We've looked at quite a stack of sources, linguistic analysis, some fascinating cross-cultural communication studies, even bits from social psychology. We'll break down the essential vocabulary, the grammar points you absolutely need to get right, and maybe the most crucial part, those cultural nuances and the unspoken rules. Understanding those can make such a difference. Prevent misunderstandings, build much stronger connections.
Okay, so whether you're thinking about asking someone for a casual coffee, or you need to RSVP to a big formal event, maybe schedule an important business meeting, or even just sort out an online hangout. By the end of this deep dive, our goal is for you to feel totally prepared, really confident in handling these interactions. Let's try and banish that awkwardness, replace it with the satisfaction of making real smooth connections. Ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
All right, so let's start right at the beginning. The art of the ask. How to craft those invitations with confidence. It sounds simple on the surface, doesn't it? Just, ask someone if they want to do something. But our sources suggest there's, well, a lot more going on. Why is the specific language we use for invitations so important, beyond just making a request?
That's a great question. And what's really interesting, pulling from social linguistics here, is that invitations are much more than just transactions. They're not just about getting someone to do something. They are fundamentally expressions of interest. You're saying, I'm interested in spending time with you, or I value your input, let's collaborate, or I want to share this experience with you. They're the first step in building that bridge between people. And when you phrase them well, they really do strengthen relationships. Think about it. A well-worded invitation makes the person feel genuinely considered, valued, wanted. It sets a positive tone right from the start, regardless of the eventual answer. It's about the social message as much as the practical one.
That makes total sense. It's like the invitation itself is part of the gesture, the start of the connection.
Yeah.
And these aren't rare occurrences, are they? They happen constantly in everyday life.
Oh, constantly. The everyday relevance is huge. Just think about the range of situations. It could be super casual, inviting a friend over for pizza, asking someone to grab coffee after class. Then you have the more formal stuff, weddings, big birthday bashes, anniversary dinners, maybe a work gala. In the professional sphere, it's nonstop. Setting up project meetings, inviting clients to presentations, networking lunches, you name it. And now, of course, there's the whole online world, too. Inviting people to virtual meetings, online games, digital coffee breaks. These are universal scenarios. So being able to do this smoothly in English is, well, it's pretty essential for navigating modern life, both socially and professionally. It's about being able to fully participate.
So it's definitely not just about logistics, about getting heads counted. It's deeply connected to politeness, respect, the whole social fabric, really. The way we invite and respond carries real weight.
It carries enormous weight. The social and cultural importance, and this comes through really strongly in the cross-cultural studies, it's huge. How you phrase that invitation, and just as importantly, how you reply, it sends clear signals. Signals about your politeness, your respect for their time and feelings, your general willingness to, play by the social rules. A thoughtful invitation shows consideration. It makes the invitation itself feel more valuable. And a polite response, whether it's a yes or a no, shows you understand those rules, you value the connection, even if you can't make it this time. It's like a subtle negotiation of respect.
Okay. Let's get practical then, the actual words. Let's dive into some key vocabulary for starting these interactions. Our sources talk about this idea of a politeness spectrum, and it seems like modal verbs are right at the heart of it. Things like would and can.
Exactly. Modal verbs are key. They're these little auxiliary verbs like would, can, could, may, might that add layers of meaning. Possibility, necessity, permission. And crucially for us today, politeness. The choice of modal verb can instantly change the feel of your invitation. Take, would you like to? This is sort of the cornerstone of polite, often more formal invitations in English. It feels considerate, respectful. It acknowledges you're asking for someone's time, and it gives them an easy out. It's low pressure. Linguistic analysis shows it's incredibly versatile and widely accepted as polite. You can use it for almost anything, from would you like to come to dinner on Saturday, to something more professional like would you like to join our webinar next week. It's just a very safe, courteous bet.
Right, the safe bet. And then way down at the other end of that politeness scale, you've got, do you want to?
Yes, do you want to is a world apart, really. It's much more direct, much more casual, definitely friendly. It's perfect for close friends, family members, situations where formality just isn't needed at all. Do you want to watch a movie tonight? Or do you want to grab a quick bite? It's relaxed, but the difference in tone is so important. Imagine saying, do you want to come to my wedding? To, say, your boss or an older relative you don't know well.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds off.
It sounds off, exactly. It could come across as too casual, maybe even a bit disrespectful, or like you don't think the event is that important. It just lacks that layer of deference that would you like to provides in those more significant or more formal contexts. Using the wrong one can subtly shift how people see you or the invitation itself. It's a small word, big impact.
That's a really good illustration. That single word changing the whole vibe. Okay, so beyond would and do, what other useful, maybe more direct options do we have for asking people?
Well, another really flexible one, especially for suggesting activities rather than issuing a firm invitation, is how about. How about is great because it feels collaborative. It's like you're putting an idea out there, inviting discussion, maybe even alternatives. You might say, how about going for a hike this weekend? Or how about we try that new Italian place? It's less formal than would you like to, but often a bit more suggestive than do you want to. It implies flexibility. It opens the door for them to say, maybe not hiking, but how about?
I like that.
About.
It feels very open, very team-oriented. Okay, what if you need to check if someone's even available before you suggest something specific? How do you do that politely?
That's where are you free? Or the slightly more formal are you available comes in handy. It's direct, but it's polite because you're respecting their time. You're checking their schedule first. Like, are you free on Tuesday evening? Or are you available for a quick call tomorrow morning? Once they confirm they are free, then you can follow up with the actual suggestion or invitation. It avoids that awkward situation where you propose something specific and they immediately say they're busy. It's efficient and considerate.
Good strategy. Okay, and then for the big moments, the really significant invitations where you want it to sound, well, official and earnest.
For those times, I'd like to invite you to, is the phrase you want. It's more formal, it's explicit, it's declarative. It carries a certain weight. Perfect for significant events where you need to be unambiguous about the purpose. Think weddings, graduation ceremonies, milestone birthdays, formal dinners, important business functions. I'd like to invite you to our company's annual gala. Or, we'd like to formally invite you to our wedding ceremony. It clearly signals this is a significant formal invitation. Leaves no room for doubt. It's a statement.
Okay, fantastic. So we have the core vocabulary, the building blocks. Now let's talk grammar, because this is where sometimes non-native speakers might trip up and it can affect how natural they sound. Our sources really stress one key structure with these invitation phrases, the verb plus infinitive. Can you break that down? What's the rule and why is it so critical?
Right. The grammar here is pretty consistent, and as our linguistic sources confirm, really vital for sounding natural. The rule is this. When you use those common invitation phrases, would you like to? Well, do you want to? I'd like to invite you to. They're almost always followed by to plus the base form of the verb, the infinitive, like to go, to join, to come, to attend. For anyone who's got the basics of English grammar down, that to plus infinitive structure is familiar, but using it consistently here is really key for fluency.
Okay, always to plus the basic verb. So can you give us some examples of correct use and maybe show us what happens when it goes wrong? What are the common mistakes?
Sure. Correct examples would be, would you like to come to the party? Or, I'd like to invite you to attend the meeting. See, to come, to attend. That flows perfectly. The common mistake, often seen with learners, is using the ing form, the gerund, instead. Or sometimes even forgetting the to altogether. So saying something like, would you like coming to the party? Or, I'd like to invite you to attend the meeting. Those sound, well, they sound wrong to a native speaker.
Oh, okay, just jars a bit.
Exactly. It jars. It's like a little speed bump in the conversation.
Yeah.
It signals that the grammar isn't quite right. It might still be understood, probably, but it breaks the natural flow. Understanding why it's wrong, because it breaks that expected to plus infinitive pattern after these specific phrases, helps you avoid it and sound much more fluent. Of course, English has other structures too, like using gerunds after verbs like enjoy, I enjoy swimming. So you have to pay attention to which verb you're using. But for these invitation phrases, it's almost always to plus infinitive.
That's super helpful. Knowing the why makes it stick. Okay, let's try and make this really concrete for our listener. Can we guide them through actually building a few invitations? Like practice constructing the sentences in their head right now.
Great idea. Let's activate this. Okay, listener, imagine you want to invite a work acquaintance, someone you know but maybe not super well, out for coffee. You want to be polite. How might you phrase it? Take a second. You could go with, would you like to grab coffee sometime next week? That's polite and standard. Or maybe checking availability first. Are you free to meet for coffee for about half an hour on Thursday?
Nice. Okay, another one. You're texting a close friend about seeing a movie this weekend. Much more casual. What would you say?
All right. Close friend, casual text. Pause, A. You'd probably just say, do you want to see that new action movie this weekend? Simple, direct, uses want to.
Perfect. And one more, maybe a more formal one. You're organizing a charity fundraiser dinner. How do you invite a potential donor?
Okay. Formal, important, pause. I pause. You definitely use, we would be delighted to invite you to attend our annual charity gala. Or, I'd like to extend an invitation to join us for the event. See how the formality ramps up with invite you to attend or extend an invitation to join? The key is really picturing yourself using these, getting that to plus base verb structure locked in.
Excellent practice. Okay, so we've covered asking. That's half the battle. But what about when you're the one getting the invitation? How do you say yes, not just clearly, but with real enthusiasm, with grace? Let's talk about the graceful yes.
Right. Accepting well is just as important. You want the person who invited you to feel good about asking, to know their effort was appreciated. Research actually shows that a clear, positive acceptance boosts the inviter's feeling of social connection. So simple phrases that pack a punch are great. Things like, sure, that sounds great, thanks. Or maybe a bit more heartfelt, oh, I'd love to. These immediately signal enthusiasm and gratitude. They're short, sweet, and very positive.
I like that short, sweet, and positive. It confirms their effort landed well. What about confirming more directly, maybe for group things or when plans need to be firm?
Yeah, for absolute clarity, especially with logistics, you might use something like count me in. That's quite dynamic, great for group plans, shows you're definitely on board. Or simply, yes, I'm free then. Very direct, leaves no doubt about your availability, which really helps the organizer.
And even when saying yes, that element of gratitude,
Yeah.
it still feels important, doesn't it? Saying thank you.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Tacking on a thanks for the invite or thanks so much for thinking of me. Even when you're accepting, it's just good social practice. It reinforces the politeness, acknowledges they went out of their way to include you, and it strengthens that social bond. It's a small thing, but it makes a difference for future goodwill.
So thinking bigger picture, why is it so important to make sure your yes is clear, enthusiastic, and grateful? What's the underlying effect of responding that way?
Well, connecting this to social psychology, a really positive acceptance does a few key things. First, it makes the inviter feel good. They put themselves out there, right? Your enthusiastic yes validates that effort. It creates positive feelings, encourages reciprocity. They're more likely to invite you again. Second, practically speaking, it makes planning so much easier for them. A clear yes means they know the numbers, they can book things, they're not left wondering. takes the stress off them.
Removes the guesswork. Makes sense.
Exactly. And third, maybe the most important from a relationship perspective, it strongly reinforces the social connection. Your eagerness shows you value the relationship. You want to engage. You want to spend time with them. It builds trust, fosters more interaction. It says, yes, I want to be part of this with you. It's fundamental for healthy social give and take.
That's really powerful. It's not just about agreeing to be somewhere. It's about actively nurturing the relationship right from that first response. Okay, let's help our listeners practice this too. How can they formulate their own enthusiastic acceptances?
All right, let's try it. Listener, imagine a neighbor invites you to a casual neighborhood barbecue. How do you accept warmly? Pause. You might say, oh, that sounds lovely. Yes, I'd love to come. Thanks so much for inviting us. Combines warmth, clarity, and gratitude.
Okay, now a colleague invites you to join a voluntary committee at work that you're actually interested in.
Okay, professional context, genuine interest. Pause, bossy. You could respond, yes, absolutely, count me in. I'm really keen to contribute. Thanks for asking. Shows commitment and appreciation.
Perfect. One more. A friend texts, want to go see that band on Friday? Got an extra ticket.
Ooh, exciting. Pause. You'd likely reply with something like, wow, yes, amazing, I'd love to go. What time should we meet? Shows clear excitement and moves straight to planning. The goal is always clarity plus genuine appreciation. Make it smooth, make it positive.
All right. Now for the part that often feels the most, well, awkward for people, the polite no. Declining invitations with diplomacy, with cultural sensitivity. This is where you really want to avoid causing offense, burning bridges, or making future invites less likely. What are the go-to phrases for politely refusing in English?
Yes, this is definitely a tricky area and where cultural differences in communication styles can really come into play. The key in English generally involves expressing regret and giving a sense of constraint, even if vague. So really effective starting points are, I'm sorry, I can't, or maybe, I'm sorry, I can't make it this time. That word sorry is doing so much work there. It's the softener. It signals regret about not being able to participate rather than just a flat rejection. It acknowledges their gesture.
Right. Sorry is like the essential buffer. Okay, what if you genuinely do wish you could go, but something unavoidable came up? How do you convey that real desire that it's not personal?
That's where the would love to, but structure is golden. It's incredibly effective for maintaining rapport. Phrases like, oh, I'd love to, but I'm busy that night, or I'd really love to join, but I have another commitment. These clearly communicate that your desire is there, but circumstances are preventing you. It frames the refusal around external factors, not a lack of interest in the person or the event. Conversational analysis shows this drastically reduces the chance of the inviter feeling personally rejected. It's the classic, it's not you, it's me, well, my schedule.
Exactly. Externalizing the reason. Okay, and if you definitely want to signal this isn't a permanent no to hanging out with this person, how do you keep that door open for the future?
That's where suggesting future possibilities comes in. Using phrases like, maybe next time, or I can't make it this time, perhaps another time, though. This explicitly frames your refusal as specific to this invitation. It tells them you value the connection and hope to do something together later. It keeps the social channel open, crucial for maintaining relationships.
And what about the simple, straightforward reason of already having plans? How do you state that politely without feeling like you need to give your entire schedule?
That's often the easiest and most accepted route. Simply stating you have prior commitments or already have plans is perfectly fine. Thank you so much for the invite, but I already have plans that evening. It's clear, polite, and generally considered a sufficient reason in English-speaking contexts. People usually don't pry further. And again, the thank you is vital. Acknowledge the invitation first. It provides a complete, respectful refusal without over-explaining.
Speaking of politeness, let's revisit the grammar quickly. Combining modals like would with sorry seems like a powerful formula for these refusals.
It really is. That combination signals empathy and respect. Think about, I would love to, but I can't. The would love to part shows your positive feelings, softening the but I can't, or I'm sorry, I have another appointment. The sorry expresses regret, and the reason provides clarity. This structure expressing positive inclination or regret, followed by the refusal and maybe a brief reason, is the standard polite formula. It minimizes potential awkwardness or offense. It's like a gentle letdown.
Okay, this leads perfectly into the cultural deep dive, the nuances of saying no. Because this is where wires can get crossed between cultures. In English-speaking culture, generally, what's the expectation around directness versus indirectness when declining?
This is a key point of comparison. While politeness is always valued, English-speaking cultures generally tend to appreciate a direct but polite refusal more than excessive vagueness or ambiguity. Beating around the bush, giving hints that aren't clear, that can sometimes be more frustrating than a clear, polite no. Communication studies suggest this comes from a cultural preference for clarity, efficiency, maybe even transparency in communication. A polite no helps everyone know where they stand and allows the inviter to finalize their plans.
Okay, direct but polite. And related to that, there's this potential minefield around saying maybe or I'll think about it when you actually mean no. How is that typically interpreted?
This is so critical. Saying maybe or I'll think about it when you intend to decline is often interpreted by native English speakers as a polite way of saying no anyway, or at least showing a strong lack of commitment. It's generally not taken as a serious, I need more time to decide. Research even suggests maybe rarely converts into a yes. So using maybe as a soft no can actually backfire. The inviter might be left hanging, unsure, or they might even plan around your potential attendance, only to be disappointed. It can lead to frustration. So if you know the answer is no, it's usually much kinder and clearer to use one of the polite declining phrases we discussed. Avoid the ambiguous maybe.
That is such a crucial piece of cultural insight. If you mean no, say no politely. Don't rely on maybe. Got it. And gratitude, even when declining, still essential.
Non-negotiable, really. Always thank the person for the invitation. Thanks for thinking of me. Thanks for the invite. Whatever feels natural. It acknowledges their effort, shows you appreciate being included, even if you can't make it. It maintains the relationship, respects the social gesture they made. Forgetting it can seem quite ungrateful or dismissive.
Okay. And there's that great idiom you mentioned earlier, rain check. Can you unpack that a bit more? How exactly does it work to keep the door open?
Right. Rain check. It's a brilliant, common, friendly idiom, originally from baseball rained-out games, got you a rain check for a future game. Socially, saying, can I take a rain check, or let's take a rain check on that means exactly, I can't do it this time, but I genuinely would like to do this with you another time.
Yeah.
It strongly signals that your refusal is circumstantial, not personal. It implies a real desire to reschedule, making the no much softer and keeping the connection positive. It's a fantastic tool for polite refusals when you do actually want to see the person again.
Perfect. Okay, before we move to scenarios, let's quickly cover some common mistakes people should actively try to avoid. These seem like easy traps. First, the super blunt no.
Yeah, just no. By itself is almost always perceived as rude or abrupt in English. It lacks any warmth, any acknowledgement of the invitation. Always soften it. Minimum. No, I'm sorry. Better. No, I'm sorry, I can't make it. Or, oh, I'm afraid I can't. That simple addition transforms the tone completely.
And we keep saying it, but is that important?
Yeah.
Forgetting the thank you when declining.
Absolutely. Forgetting to say thanks makes you seem unappreciative. It undermines the social effort the inviter made. It can damage the relationship subtly. Always include that expression of gratitude. Thank you for the invitation, but...
Okay, and the last trap. Using want in formal settings. Why is do you want to come to my wedding such a faux pas?
It comes down to tone and respect. Do you want to is inherently casual, friendly, informal. Using it for a significant formal event like a wedding sounds jarringly out of place. It can imply you don't view the event or perhaps the guest with the appropriate level of seriousness or respect. It just doesn't match the expected tone. Would you like to come to my wedding? Carries the necessary formality, the respect, the sense of occasion. Choosing the right level of formality shows social awareness, which is crucial.
Makes perfect sense. All right, let's practice constructing some polite declines. Give our listeners a few examples to work through mentally.
Okay, listener. Scenario 1. A colleague invites you to after-work drinks, but you're really tired and just want to go home. How do you decline politely? Pause. You could say, oh, thanks so much for asking. I'm actually pretty wiped today, so I think I'll head straight home. Maybe next time, though. Gratitude. Polite reason. Vague is fine. Keeps door open.
Nice. Okay, scenario 2. You're invited to a weekend trip you absolutely cannot afford. How do you decline without getting into financial details?
Tricky one. Pause. Maybe. Wow, that sounds like an amazing trip. Thanks for the invite. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it work this time. I hope you guys have a fantastic time, though. Express enthusiasm for the idea, clear decline, avoid specifics, wish them well.
Great. And last one. An acquaintance invites you to a potluck dinner, but you already have firm family plans.
Easy one. Pause. That's so kind of you to invite me. I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I already have family commitments that evening that I can't change. Let's definitely catch up soon, though. Kindness, clear reason, prior plans, suggestion for future. See how these combine gratitude, a polite reason, even if general, and often a nod to future connection. That's the formula.
Fantastic examples. This really clarifies the art of the polite. No. Okay, now let's put everything together. Let's look at some real-world scenarios, some dynamic dialogues. This is where we see how it all flows in actual conversation, the back and forth.
Exactly. Context is king. The same phrases can feel different depending on who you're talking to and the situation.
Right. Let's start with the scenario 1. Super casual. Inviting someone for coffee. I'll invite. You accept enthusiastically. Hey, you free after work today, by any chance?
Yeah, I think so. Why? What's up?
Just heading to that new coffee place on Elm Street,
Sure.
where the pastries are amazing. Want to join?
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely. That sounds great. What time are you thinking of heading over? I could totally go for a pastry.
Okay, let's break that down.
Mhm.
My opening, hey, you free? I'm very casual. My want to join? Informal, perfect for coffee.
Yeah.
Adding the pastry detail makes it more appealing. Your response, yeah, definitely. That sounds great. Was clearly enthusiastic. And what time? Immediately moves to logistics. Short, informal, positive fits perfectly. Right?
Absolutely. It feels natural. Yeah, I think so. Initially is also very typical of spoken English, slight hesitation before confirming.
Yeah.
Then yeah, definitely, and that sounds great. Convey genuine interest without being overly formal. And asking what time shows you're engaged and ready to make the plan concrete. It keeps the conversation flowing smoothly, no awkward pauses. Very typical casual interaction.
Okay, let's shift gears completely. Scenario 2. Formal event invitation. Needs a different tone altogether. I'll invite you to something significant. We'd be truly honored if you would join us for our daughter's graduation ceremony next Sunday. Your support would mean a lot to our family.
Oh my goodness, thank you so much for such a thoughtful and kind invitation. I would be absolutely delighted to come and celebrate such a wonderful occasion with you all. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
That's wonderful to hear. The ceremony begins at 11 a.m. sharp in the main university auditorium. There'll be a small reception afterwards.
Perfect. I've put it straight into my calendar. Thank you again. I'll certainly be there to cheer her on.
Okay, analyzing this one. We would be truly honored if you would join us, and mentioning family support sets a very formal, heartfelt tone. Your response was spot on. Thank you so much for such a thoughtful and kind invitation. Elevates the gratitude. Absolutely delighted and wouldn't miss it for the world. Convey strong, formal acceptance. And confirming, I'll certainly be there after getting the details, provides that necessary formal confirmation. Everything feels elevated to match the occasion.
Precisely. The language on both sides is more elaborate, more respectful. My response uses intensifiers like so much, thoughtful, kind, absolutely delighted to match the significance. Confirming you've put it in the calendar is also a common polite gesture in more formal contexts, showing you're taking it seriously. The whole exchange follows a more structured, courteous pattern appropriate for extending and accepting a significant invitation. Clarity, respect, and clear intentions are key.
Makes sense. Okay, final scenario, the tricky one. Scenario 3. Politely declining. This is where that diplomatic skill really comes into play. I'll invite you to dinner. You gracefully decline but keep the door open. Hey, we're having a few people over for a casual dinner at our place this Friday night. Nothing fancy. We'd love it if you could make it. Would you like to join us?
That is so incredibly kind of you to think of me. That sounds really lovely. Thank you for the invite. Gosh, unfortunately, I actually already have something planned for Friday evening that I committed to a while back. But I'd really love to take you up on that another time soon, though. Maybe we could grab that coffee we talked about next week instead.
Oh, hey, no problem at all. Absolutely understand. Another time for sure. And yes, coffee next week sounds great. Let's plan that. Right, let's dissect that. My invite was friendly, casual, nothing fancy. Your response started perfectly. That is so incredibly kind. Thank you for the invite. Immediate gratitude and appreciation. Then the decline. Gosh, unfortunately, I actually already have something planned. Softened with, gosh, unfortunately, actually. And a clear reason. Prior plans. And the crucial part. But I'd really love to take you up on that another time. Followed by a specific alternative suggestion. Coffee next week. That really seals the deal on keeping the connection strong. My response shows I understood and accepted gracefully.
Exactly. That initial buffer of appreciation is key. The reason given, already have something planned, is polite and requires no further explanation. And proactively suggesting the rain check with a concrete alternative, coffee next week, demonstrates genuine interest in connecting, just not on that specific night. It turns the no into a not now, but yes, soon. Your accepting response confirms the refusal landed politely and the relationship is fine. It's a smooth resolution, avoiding any potential awkwardness. This structure really works wonders.
It really does. These scenarios just perfectly highlight the power of context, don't they? How you adjust everything, the words, the formality, the directness, based on the situation and who you're talking to. Casual coffee versus formal graduation versus needing to decline politely. The language has to shift. It shows that mastering this isn't just about English, it's about social intelligence, really. I remember early in my career getting a vague maybe to an important meeting invite. The uncertainty it caused was so stressful, it really hammered home why clarity, even in a polite no, is often preferred in many English-speaking settings.
That's a perfect example. And that adaptability you mentioned is the heart of effective communication. It's not about rigidly applying rules, but understanding the principles behind them. Knowing why would you like to is polite, why maybe can be confusing, why gratitude matters. When you understand the social mechanics, you can navigate any situation more effectively. You build better rapport, avoid misunderstandings, and just generally handle social interactions with more confidence and grace.
So let's try and crystallize this. What are the absolute key takeaways from our deep dive today?
Okay, the essentials. First, modal verbs matter. Would you like to? Is your go-to for politeness. Do you want to? Is for casual chats. Second, for accepting. Be clear, be enthusiastic. I'd love to. Count me in. And always say thanks. Third, for declining. The magic formula is often gratitude plus regret reason plus future hope. Use sorry, thank you, I'd love to, but, and remember that rain check idiom. And fourth, those cultural points. Lean towards direct but polite refusals. Be very wary of using maybe when you mean no, and gratitude is non-negotiable for both yes and no.
That's a fantastic summary, packed with actionable insights all drawn from our research. Okay, now, for you listening, here's the important part, your call to action. Don't just let this sit in your head. Practice. Try these phrases out. Role play with someone, use them in casual texts or emails, even just mentally rehearse inviting someone or responding to an invitation you might get. Start small, maybe with casual coffee invites, then try accepting or declining things. Consistent practice is honestly the only way to build real confidence and make these patterns second nature.
And as a final thought to leave you with, think about how mastering these small everyday interactions, inviting, accepting, declining, goes way beyond just improving your English skills. It genuinely enhances your ability to build connections, to bridge gaps between people, to navigate our complex social world with more ease and empathy. It's a fundamental skill for connection. So what invitation will you make or respond to next? Knowing you now have the tools to handle it confidently and gracefully.
A great question to ponder. And that wraps up today's deep dive. We really hope this leaves you feeling more equipped and confident. Remember, practice is everything, so get out there and try these phrases. We genuinely enjoy bringing you these explorations. If you found this helpful, be sure to check out other episodes from the deep dive. Join us next time as we continue our journey into becoming better informed.